Control what you can control and let go of what you can't. I came into 2020 thinking about this concept, thinking about how much energy and effort I've put into trying to control things that I can't control over the last decade. The reason that this came up for me was that I had the most incredible thing in life happen to me, which is that I had my first son. So my wife gave birth to our son, and for the last couple months of the year, I spent my time taking care of a newborn. As I was taking care of him, I came to realize that newborns are pure chaos. They are chaos embodied. They eat when they want, they sleep when they want, they poop when they want. They're on their own schedule. And as a parent, your job is to adapt to whatever needs that they have to help them grow into the people that they're ultimately going to become. As I was going through this experience, I realized that I was trying to exert a lot of control over the situation. I was really trying to get my son to fit into the schedule that I wanted him to fit into, that would allow me to live my life as comfortably as possible throughout that time period, that would allow me to get a little bit of sleep now and then. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about how doing so was ultimately, one, futile. It wasn't going to happen. And two, wasn't actually in the best interest of my son or of what I was really trying to accomplish. So I spent a lot of time really thinking about this concept of control, of trying to control my environment, and ultimately of trying to control other people. And as I move into 2020, I've decided that this is a concept that I'm going to leave behind in the last decade. I was reflecting on this experience, and I started wondering. I was like, man, this is really eye-opening for me, that I've been trying and wrestling with this concept of control this whole time. Am I so focused on controlling my surroundings that I can't let this go? And so I started to think about, where else is this showing up in my life? And I thought back to a client that I had worked with in the previous years and some of the reactions that I'd had to this client. So normally I would jump on a phone call with this client, I'd spend time working with them. And then after getting off the call, I would spend time and energy thinking about, fuming about in some ways, how hard it was to work with this specific client. I spent my energy really just thinking about their actions. And as I reflected on this story, I thought about how really wasteful that effort was, how really wasteful it was to spend my energy thinking about what someone else was doing or the way that someone else was saying something. Because ultimately, I can't control the actions of another person, and in so many ways, especially in this situation, I didn't need to. So I was thinking about that situation, and I was reflecting on how I can change going forward into 2020. I am not going to exert my effort, my energy into controlling the actions of other people. I'm going to instead take that energy and I'm going to direct it as much as possible towards improving myself, as much as possible toward improving the things that I'm creating, towards putting them out into the world, towards making sure that they're as authentic and long-lasting as possible. And then I am going to do what I think is the most natural thing, or maybe the best thing for us to do, which is I'm going to let other people be themselves and respond and react the way that they want to. I started thinking about that concept and this framework, this philosophy, and I started thinking about how it also applies to our society and where we are right now. We used to have this concept, right, which was sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. And that was a concept which meant what you say over there cannot harm me over here. It doesn't have to be something that I dwell on. It doesn't have to be something that I carry with me, because your words are just words. But somewhere along the way, we've gotten to the point where we've started to let words hurt us. And I think ultimately that comes from this desire to create a world where everyone can live in peace and where everyone can feel good about themselves. But as I move into 2020, I have decided that I'm not really going to get caught up in that either. I'm not super interested in the negative words that people have to say, the negative things people will say about what I've created. I want to hear that, and I want to take what's useful from it. I want to take the feedback that's positive in some way, but I don't have to carry the burden of holding on to the words that others put out there. And I don't have to spend my time and energy trying to control what they say and what they do in a way that ultimately drains me from being able to focus on myself. So as I move into 2020, that's what I've decided to do. Hopefully that's useful for you as well as you think about who you want to be and what you want to do in this next decade. I think we have so many opportunities in front of us, but the best way to really take advantage of them is to focus in on who we are, focus in on who we want to become and what we ultimately want to do, and trust that by controlling what we can control, the other things will eventually work out. If this was useful for you, please hit the subscribe button below. I would love to stay in touch with you. I'm trying to build a community here. I'd love to share more thoughts and more reflections about the journey that I'm on in life, if there's something that you'd like to hear. All right, so that's what I got this time. Until next time.